Fueled by C4, Cellucor, and Extend. Use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off at checkout at c4energy.com. On Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the widest array of content here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you're the first to know when new episodes are available. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Thursday Night CrossFit Talk. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale. She is Jamie Latimer. What's going on?
Hey.
We got a new headset and mic for you.
Yeah.
And you are crystal clear.
Professionalizing it up over here.
Awesome. Sounds so good.
Good.
So, last week the show ended with a bolt of lightning and then no power.
Yeah.
How did that go? Because I know, but let our listeners know what you went through then from that point forward.
Yeah, I wish I could turn the camera around. And the tree in the front yard fell, which while we were on, I thought I heard something, but with like earphones in and like the noise canceling, I was sort of unsure. So yeah, we had a pretty large tree that was actually my rope climbing tree. So obviously not safe at all. Half of it had fallen in the winter during an ice storm, like it split, and half of it had fallen over the driveway, couldn't get out of the driveway. And then, so this storm took down the entire thing. And we were actually I would say fairly lucky compared to, there was 5 tornadoes that touched down. I've seen footage of just patches of tons of trees down. It's insane. But yeah, so many people lost power. I can't even remember the number that was out, but we were out of power till Sunday. So this was Thursday night. We were out of power till Sunday at 10 p.m. It sucked.
That is crazy. So we're getting feedback that your mic is loud. So I turned you down.
Okay.
Hopefully that helped everybody. I turned her down on the soundboard, so hopefully it's not as loud. But it's a new mic. It may take us a little bit of time to get it leveled in.
Yeah.
So you went all weekend without power.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of time at the gym.
Well, so the gym didn't have power until Saturday afternoon. So we didn't run Friday early morning. It was just too dark, but the front of our gym is all windows. So it catches a little bit of natural light in there. So we did our 9 a.m., noon, 4 and 5. Yep. And then Saturday Saturday actually was a really good workout already written for, it was running wall balls. We just did on the front wall outside. So it was great. Worked out really great. We just did it outside. And then Friday when I went to the gym, and Ronica and I both, Ronica's commenting here, we both did one of our qualifier workouts in the dark. It was not ideal. For me, I had to do burpee box jumps, and it wasn't dark, but it also wasn't bright, and you're already kind of hesitant of tripping on a box when you're getting fatigued. So it was not ideal. I don't know if I'm going to redo that one or not. Ronica had to do a bunch of handstand push-ups and dumbbell snatches. Yeah, we did. It was interesting, to say the least. No air moving at all. Normally we have fans on in there keeping you cool, but yeah, it sucked.
So I turned you down, but you're still. So are you on your phone or are you on a laptop?
I'm on my phone.
Can you see settings?
Yes.
So, and then audio.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you click that, there's a checkbox to automatically adjust mic volume.
Yes.
Or if that's unchecked underneath, you can turn it down.
Okay. How's that?
Way better.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think I can turn you back up a little bit on my end. Okay, I think we're much better. But Ronica does say that mic always sounds way better.
This is a new mic, Ron. You haven't heard this one.
Yeah, that sounds way better.
Okay, good.
So you talked about qualifiers in the dark. You were trying to qualify for Legends.
Mm-hmm.
So let's walk through that. Because we're going to talk about a couple different competitions coming up. Legends is coming up, and they are in Arizona this year.
Yep, Phoenix.
And December-ish.
December 7th through 11th, I believe, something like that.
Okay.
7th
So
through
the
10th.
qualifiers came out last week, and you had this weekend to do it, or correct me if I'm wrong.
It's like you have like they came out like when I was in Hawaii. I think that basically when I was coming home that weekend, I think they came out. So we had, and then I think you have 3 weeks. We had last week, this week, and next week.
And how many workouts to do?
There's 6 workouts.
Dang, that's a lot of time.
Yeah. That's how it was last year. Yeah.
September 10th by 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure is it Eastern? And Andrew Stan confirms that September 10th is the end of the qualifiers. So you started those. You've sent me a couple videos to kind of see how you're doing. Last week we talked about like being in a funk a little bit and trying to get out of that funk. So the first video you sent me was a lifting workout, which always puts you in a funk.
Yes.
And then today you sent me rowing and over the rower burpees.
Correct.
And you looked much better. You look like Jamie today.
I felt better for sure. It was actually we did this like exact same workout last year for the Legends qualifiers. This is row Kales, burpee over the rower. Last year it was 27, 21, 15, 9. And this year it went 9, 15, 21, 27. So you had to work your way up.
So this is my best friend, Sprinkles McCarty. And he says, so I still have a shot. He does.
Yep.
Has until September 10th.
Plenty of time to get 6 workouts in.
Plenty of time. Yeah, he'd probably do them all in like a couple hours. He's like you. He'll roll around on the floor after each one, and then he'll come back and do another one.
There's a couple long ones. I don't know if you'd want to do some of these back to back.
Yeah, we just give them a hard time. Andrew says ascending rep schemes are awful. I agree.
I typically agree as well. I actually felt like this one was easier than last year's.
Okay. So how many do you have in the bank?
I have 3 done.
And 1 you may redo.
Yeah, I don't know.
3 to go. Plenty of time. I know when you did MFC, you felt sluggish then too. And you just kind of did them. And you qualified in the 2nd position or something.
Yep.
So do you feel like what you're doing right now is enough to get you into Legends?
Yeah, I mean, I think they take like 31 people. So yes, I would like to think that I can get in. Not like by 100%.
Ronica says, yes, you will repeat.
Yeah, that's proximity bias.
And for those of you that don't know, Ronica is co-owner of the gym that Jamie owns. So they talk probably every day.
Yes. And Jim's trying and Ronica is trying. So Ronica's in the 35 to 39 and Jim's in the 65 plus. So we're all doing them together.
And how's it going for Ronica and Jim?
I think great. So Ronica has 3 done as well. She has 2 of the workouts done that I haven't done yet. and Jim has 2 of the workouts I've done, and 1 of the ones I haven't. Jim was trying to do the same ones as me, but I kind of mixed up my schedule. I've got a wedding next Friday. He's going to be gone Friday through Monday from Labor Day, so he wanted to get 1 more in. So we both kind of messed up our schedules a little bit when thinking through this.
Yeah. I love weddings. I got one of those this weekend.
Yeah.
My nephew is getting married here in Columbus. He grew up in Pennsylvania, was raised by my parents, and went to the same college I did here in Ohio, and is now working for a company here in Columbus. And so he lives across town and is getting married at the Park of Roses on Saturday.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just a little wooded area in northern Columbus. So super nice. But we have lots of guests coming to the house, and a lot of DIY stuff had to happen this week. And most of it went okay until today. And now I just throw my hands up. And when it ends with you calling the home warranty company, you know something has gone horribly wrong.
Yep.
So, does he work for Rogue? Jody Lynn asks. No, he does not. He actually works for Cover My Meds. He used to work for Cardinal Health, which is a massive company here in Columbus. And then he got a promotional opportunity with Cover My Meds. But I know Jody is working hard. She shot her shot today with Katie Henniger.
I saw.
To be a designer for Rogue. And you got to applaud the shot.
That was awesome.
So that was I was so glad she did it, and I was hoping Katie was like, "Let's talk."
I know.
But I don't know how many cold shots she gets in a week.
Yeah.
But what that company has done here in Columbus is freaking amazing. I know I threw it out there in the chat. They took an old rundown steel mill, leveled it, and built up from there. And it's like a whole city block. And it is gorgeous. And they have there's like a whole revitalization around where Rogue built, with breweries and restaurants and co-ops and all kinds of cool stuff. So it's amazing what they're doing here in Columbus.
That's cool.
Elise comes in with, Katie didn't give her a no, just a not right now. And Jody's more realistic. LOL, Katie was unimpressed, but I tried. I was impressed, Jody.
I was too. And I think it makes total sense. Like, I'm sure with like the programs that you have for designing the kitchen spaces, like you just throw in a gym and put stuff in. I think it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, every gym should have like a little kitchenette at least.
Yeah.
Andrew Sten says, would love to work for Rogue if there were any jobs that fit my skills. That's kind of where I was, because I did look a lot. I wanted to work there. It's funny, my daughter actually applied there to be a photographer for them coming out of college. But I think like she resists everything about CrossFit and stuff around CrossFit because, you know, she says I forced her into CrossFitting when she was a teen. And so like anything to do with the CrossFit space, she is resistant to. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, you could have at least worked there for the discount.
Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing.
And then Jody said it didn't help. Sevon had just roasted her for the tape mark debacle. Yeah. Yeah. You threw it in way ahead of that, Jody, and then he let it roll until it was bad timing. Your timing was way better than his.
Yep.
And then Holly said, if they ever need a data librarian, I'm there. I don't know. I might be protective of you, Holly. Maybe
Yeah, don't leave
Katie and
us.
I can work something out so you can do a little bit of each. So, just kidding. Kenna says cool shirts for both hosts tonight. We're actually going to talk about this shirt here in a second. Your shirt,
It's just one
Redemption,
of
that's your shirt, right?
yeah, it's just one of ours. Yep.
I didn't see that. Is it like, was that a special edition or an older OG
It's
one?
actually, yeah, it's actually just like a company mailed us some like trial shirts just to try to get us to buy them. It's cute.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I like the two sides of the tree. I like that
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah. It was the other owner's logo, which we've gone to the X behind you, the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
one.
So Sprinkles jumps back in. Neighbor of mine was an engineer for them and didn't like it, left them. But I have to point out that my man Sprinkles was a spokesperson for Rogue. He was part of the Are You Rogue campaign. The crane operator, it's still out there on YouTube if you do a little Google search. But they did a commercial with him. And for like 5 years after that, every time I was with him and we'd be in an event, Bill would be like, Brent, my guy.
That's
and
awesome.
Nobody would say anything to me. Like I was the arm candy or whatever. And he just went off and shook hands and kissed babies. And so whenever we were at a Rogue event, if any of the media guys or Bill saw him, it was yelling across the way for him. But it is a really cool commercial. They were supposed to film him in his crane that day, but it was pouring down rain. So they actually shot him inside, and he just got out a welding torch and basically banged it against some metal so sparks would fly. And they filmed it. And then they went to the gym we were at the time and filmed him working out and pieced the two things together.
Local celebrity.
And Brent says, lifelong arm candy. Yeah. But the cool thing is that I think that's how we got into the premiere for Froning 4 back in the day, is Brent's connection with Rogue. They did the premiere here in Columbus. So like Heber flew in and did a big presentation, and we got to see Froning 4 in a movie theater here in Columbus at a premiere. And it was so freaking cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, Alista is going to run. Keep your sweet voices in my ears. Wow, the comments are flying in. And Jay Birch is here too. Gotta love Jay Birch and Jody and Andrew and Kenneth. Man, the whole crew's here. Awesome, guys. Holly. Man, we got to get Holly back to work. We got to find some stuff for her to research for us. So we talked about legends. Let's talk about MFC.
Okay.
So I reached out to MFC to see if I could get a media credential to film a documentary of our listeners who qualified for MFC, and we can put out some stuff on them. I get a response back. They don't do media credentials, but I'm more than welcome to come shoot these athletes if I want to.
Okay.
I think what that means is I have to pay admission. But
I see.
I don't mind doing that. I will support the Masters community and do that. I just hope that I get the access I need with all of you, which I should. The way it's been set up in the past, it's not too hard to like follow you guys around.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see if we have an extra coach's pass.
Yeah. I mean, I think Corey doesn't have a coach coming with him.
Okay.
I have some options, but even at that, like, I still think I'm okay. it's a pretty open competition, and the masters athletes aren't like running to get away from the fans or anything.
No.
It's a very different feel than like the elite competition. But I'm super stoked to do that. In fact, I talked to you today about like hotels and where we can stay and different things like that. And I'm hoping Julie comes with me to kind of be my assistant with all this stuff. Plus, I kind of want her to ask some questions because her perspective will be way different than mine.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a cool, like, little change of pace with it all. So we're going to do that. That's definitely on. And then I actually watched Kettlebells and Cocktails this week with Eamon Coyne, who I have had some run-ins with in the past 365 days. But he was very, very apologetic about the way things went down last year with the judges, about the way the volunteers were treated, and says that it's one of his biggest regrets. And he seemed very remorseful in this interview. So I was very happy to see that. Hopefully bygones can be bygones. We can move on past this thing, because I was a volunteer judge last year. And so I felt the pain of the schedule that they put those judges under, and there just were not enough to handle the load of what they tried to put together last year.
Yeah.
So
I kind of wonder if you haven't met Ronica, because she did judge at MFC last year. Because Jim and I were competing, and Ronica came and volunteered. But yeah, the hours were insane. I felt awful for her.
Andrew Sten was a judge as well. It was rough last year. It really was. We had to be there before any coffee shops were open.
Yep.
I will just say that. And then lunch was hit or miss getting anything because of the volume. And then we didn't get to leave until 7-8 o'clock at night.
Yep.
So,
yeah, we would basically wait for her. I mean, we would have to go get dinner, and luckily we had like a suite that had a kitchenette, so we had food. And when I would leave for the day, I would pack up a cooler and I would bring her lunch with me and like get her something. But it was rough. Dinner was rough. She'd wake up before us and try to be quiet to get out of there, to get over there. Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, a lot. So I was with a group of judges. We all stayed in the same hotel. We would go back and like order pizza in the lobby because that's like all we could do. There wasn't much open at that point. But hopefully, and my beef with it wasn't them. It was, let's make sure the infrastructure around the competition is able to support what it is that you guys are trying to do.
Yeah.
Don't try to grow the competition before the infrastructure that can support it. That's what my beef was. It wasn't about any individual person. I think they're all nice guys, great guys to hang out with. It just was, that's the piece that I wanted them to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in no shit. I should have not jumped back into judging at that point. My back was not healed enough to put in the days that we were putting in. It just could not hold up to those days. And by Sunday, I was laying on a cement floor trying to just get relief.
Mm-hmm.
But so I felt it a lot more than others. Like studs like Andrew Sten, like they're used to he could be on his feet all day. He's just a savage when it comes to judging. So, and Ronica looks familiar. Like I'm sure I've seen her around a million times. It's just, in this space, so many faces and so little time.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that up. The next thing on our agenda is Uplift. And at 8:45, we're having Stephanie Price on from the Pit Fitness Ranch Throwdown. So she'll be on to talk about that competition coming up this weekend, just so everybody knows. But that's when she can get away to come on with us and talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So this weekend is Uplift as well. We have been touting this for it seems like a couple months. It's probably 6 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
And
5, 6 weeks.
I got the shirt.
I should have worn mine.
This weekend, it is a partner WOD. It's one 30-minute WOD that you can do with a partner. It is 4 rounds for max reps. Minute 1 to 2, you are doing, partner 1 is doing 10 burpee box jump overs. Partner 2 is doing 20 or 16 calorie row. Then you flip that in minute 2. Minute 3, you combine for 200 double unders. And then you do max rep thrusters. Yep. Must complete the jump rope first. Both participants may work on the double unders at the same time. Minute 5, you rest. You do that for 4 rounds. Once those 4 rounds are done, from minutes 20 to 30, max cleans, power or squat, for 10 minutes. Pretty simple workout. Kind of a.
Is it built to a max, or is there a weight and you're doing a max number?
It is a max number, I believe.
Okay.
You know what? I should have looked at that closer. It's a great question. I've always assumed it was just reps. I will pull up his Instagram now.
I know I had it somewhere and I got it down now too.
I'll pull it up here. But Jody, it's for a good cause.
I know. I think we may be doing that Monday on Labor Day for our gym WOD.
So it does not say.
I think it's find a max clean.
Wouldn't it be so much more fun if it was just max reps?
Oh God, that'd be gross.
I can't. We did a workout like that, like 100 cleans. And you think like I'm a barbell guy, like I'm super stoked about that. And then like 50 in, you can't even hold the bar anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
I've done a couple like that.
Yeah, nowhere does it spell it out, but you're probably right. A max clean. And there are 4 levels for scaling options, from level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. And if you want to see these on the Instagram, Mark Moss, we had him on 6 weeks ago. He is the organizer of this. This is pinned as his first post on Instagram. So you can go check that out there. So there you go. So what else are we talking about tonight?
Rogue.
So lots of speculation out there. Lots of rumors about who got invited, who didn't. Not going to get into all that because I don't know. But I do know that they have announced 3 invitees so far.
Okay.
And you know, Rogue, they want the big pomp and circumstance. And they're entitled to that. So here is their Instagram page. As you can see, they've announced 3 individuals, and there they are: Annie Thorsdottir, Will Morad, Karen Freyova. Now, Karen and Will were both 14th at the games. Annie was 13th. So are we doing a descending order? I don't know. I'm guessing that's kind of the way they're going about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sort of makes sense.
The the qualifier has been done. There are leaked leaderboards that are not final. Yeah, because they didn't put anything out themselves.
It's up.
Yeah, but I'm saying Rogue didn't really put anything out with that leaderboard on it, and there's nothing on the story. But I did see like Sydney Mikulishin was in second.
Yep.
She posted the actual leaderboard. I can't even remember who all was on it. That's the one that like stuck out to me because we spent the whole season with her. And that'd be cool if she got to go.
So top 6: Spiegel, Sydney, Taylor Howe, Manon Anganese, that Elena Cartella, Sanahua, and Christine Kohlengrander.
And they're the top 6 right now?
Yes. Yeah.
And on the men's side, it's no games competitors.
Correct. Not in like the top 5, no. Not for, I don't even think the top 10 has. Jason Hopper is 10th. And so, but you got Hoffer, Gerard, Leahy, Mayer, Caravis, Tudor Magda, Anol Ikai, Guillaume Briant, and Tyler Christoffel.
Okay. Yeah. There's already questions about Bill Leahy again. According to a Hiller video.
Yeah, so I mean, these are just the places right now. I don't think anything's been done to the leaderboard, so we're just kind of. What place was Dalen in the games? You broke up on me.
Dalen was in 5th.
Yeah, so Dalen will probably get an invite, Ken.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they're going down through the leaderboard from 14th down. Dalen's going to get an invite. There are athletes that told me they got their email invites already, and they were told to stay quiet until they get their invite in the mail. And I think it's because Rogue wants to announce them in a certain way.
Right.
One third place competitor told me they got theirs already. One 12th place person told me they got theirs already. So I think they're waiting for Rogue to make the announcement. Yeah,
I think they said top 5 basically are guaranteed out of the qualifier once the leaderboard's final, and then from there I would assume if somebody doesn't accept and there's a spot. Jody, no, the invitees don't have to do the qualifier workouts. They just get brought in straight from the games, basically.
Yeah, as Katie said today, it's invitational. They can invite who they want. The qualifiers just for everyone else.
Yeah. And that's probably why you see like not really any games competitors in the top 10 much on either side. I mean, Kohlenbrander's 6th, but for one, these guys have been probably continued to train, didn't go compete and then take weeks off. So they're probably in a little bit better shape right now. And I don't know, the girls' side seems definitely like heavier, which I looked at the workouts and I thought they were heavy. So that seems like the type of athlete that is sitting at the top of the leaderboard.
When you see names like Mikulishin, Danny Spiegel, Christine Kohlenbrander, it's probably a heavy based workout.
Yeah.
So Andrew says, 15th for both men and women, not invited or going. Barbell spin said Quant declined and Bethany did not get invited. Both were 15th at the games. I have not spoken to either of those athletes individually, so I cannot confirm or deny that. I trust that Brian Spinn has done his due diligence. He is really good at reporting the news, so I will give him his kudos for that. And he stated that Sam Quant's wife is due with their next baby right around the time of Rogue. And so he was going to decline regardless. And Bethany said to Spin that she did not get an invite. And the speculation is, and he even said on the show last night, the speculation is putting 2 and 2 together that invite would be used to invite Tia.
I could see that. Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking. Like if they did the top 14 and they're giving 5 spots from the qualifier, they're saving 1 pick for somebody on both sides. Yeah.
So Candace says, so question, which is more expected, to see Justin or not see Justin? And which would concern you more for his season next year? Neither way would concern me for next season. I think that it is an individual choice based on where you are at today, whether you compete at Rogue or not. And it really has nothing to do with next season. That is my opinion. These are athletes that compete all the time. And if Justin needs a break, then Justin needs a break. He has done Rogue every year since he's really made it at the games, probably from 2020 on. If he needs a break this season, then it's fine for him to have a break. The demands of being the champ are probably greater than those that finished just behind him. And maybe now that he didn't win this year, it's a perfect time to just take some time for him. Recharge the battery, do all that. But there is a chance. There is a chance we might be able to ask him that soon. Small chance. Hoping. Praying. So also out are the Dubai invites. And I have a more global question, and that's why I'm going to bring that up. So here are the invites for Dubai. And these are the men. I will blow this up. Maybe. I can't get it to move now. There we go. Alex Gatoulis, Anil Akai, Ant Haynes, Briant Guillaume, Chandler Smith, Daniel Ty, David Shrunky, Elliot Simmons, Fabian Benito Celis, Georges Caravas, Javier Gonzalez, Yonakoski, Jorge Fernandez, Joshua Chama, Kike Cerveni, Christoph Horvath, Lazar Jukic, Luka Jukic, Michael Smith, Michael Wesolowski, Moritz Fiebig, wow, Reggie Fossa, Ricky Gerard, Roman Krennikov, Simon Montilla, and Victor Hoffa.
A lot of overlap there with road qualifiers.
Yeah. And these are all by invite as well. And then the women's side, Andrea Solberg, Brittany Weiss, Camila Solomonson-Hellman, Claudia Gluck, Dana Paran, Devin Kim, Elisa Filiano, Emily Rolfe, Emma Tall, Hannah Carlson, Jacqueline Dahlstrom, Jennifer Muir, Karen Freyova, Kyra Milligan, Lauren Fisher, Lena Richter, Linda Kiesman, Menon Anganese, Matilda Garnes, and Mia Hesketh, Sahir Kaya, Shahad Boudebs, and Shelby Neal. So those are the people invited. It's very European heavy. Some surprise names to me were Chandler Smith, because he did very well at the games this year. He's probably going to get a rogue invite. I'll be honest, Emily Rolfe, even though she podiumed last year there, that she got an invite to Dubai with the rogue stuff coming up as well. What didn't surprise me is like the Invictus team all competing individually at Dubai, which I think is a kind of all four of them are going. A lot of the Norwegian or the Norwegian, Oslo, Norway, Oslo Navy Blue
Oslo
team. A
Navy
lot of
Blue.
them are in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew, he's asking if these are those invitees are accepted. This is what's on Competition Corner on the leaderboard right now. So I'm assuming that they have accepted. Now, all this is subject to change, of course, as we lead up to this. We're talking December usually for this. It's 99 days away, according to the countdown clock in the upper green there. We've got plenty of time for this to shift. But I think these are people who have accepted at this point because they are on the leaderboard. So my bigger question to this is, so there we have the Rogue invitees, we have the Dubai invitees, two of the biggest competitions in the world are now done by invite and not by qualifier.
Jody says right here, a new crowd competing would be cool to see. Yeah, I agree. And that's the problem with invite only. They're going to pick the people who you just saw at the games, the top of the pack, and that's it. You just keep seeing these same people.
So the same 15, 20 people from you're going to see them over and over and over again. And in Europe, you're getting the same churn in the European athletes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's put a pin in that because we have a very, very special guest who has jumped on to join us. And that is Stephanie Price, live from the Pit Fitness Ranch, the home of the Teen Throwdown. What's going on, Stephanie?
Hey guys, super excited to be here tonight. Well, we just welcomed our first, we have 24 athletes competing tomorrow. And that's our junior varsity group. And then we have welcomed 75 volunteers and staff. And we have got another 97 athletes coming in to compete Saturday and Sunday. So I just left the war room where we were going over tomorrow's events to jump on with you guys. And I went ahead and came right here to our media table right out here at the pit.
Awesome. So a couple cool things that I think you guys are doing that I want you to explain a little bit is you're not only having the elite athletes come, but you actually have a JV and a varsity division. And I love the name of that because it applies to like high school and college sports, which will lead to my next question, but you can answer that one first.
Yeah, it all kind of originated in 2000. So for everyone, just for his historical context, we started the Pit Teen Throwdown in 2019 when the games were canceled for the teenagers because of the COVID pandemic. And that year we had 46 athletes, including Mal O'Brien, Olivia Kerstetter, Tudor Magda, Sophie Schaff, Paulina Harrow, some names that you might recognize. We were very excited to have them and we love that. We realized, however, that there were about 6,000 teenagers that sign up for the CrossFit Open. So that means there are just gaggles of them out there that want to compete, that are, pursuing CrossFit in a competitive way. So we started what we called then the rookie division. And it was very popular. We got kids who were still very good. We're still talking top 10, 15% in the world, but they were newer to competition. Maybe some of the higher level movements were a little difficult, but we felt it was really important to bring them on and to introduce them to what competition looks like at this level. And so that grew popular and we loved it. We had so many kids come. Then the next year, though, we went to plan our event and we said, well, they're not all rookies because there's still sort of this like junior varsity versus, varsity level. So kind of like the minor leagues, if you will. And if you think about CrossFit as a sport, well, it is a sport, right? All sports have some sort of a ground where you're growing your athletes. They may not be professional level yet, but they're certainly becoming that. So we really wanted to include them, and we love this group of kids. They just have so much heart, and we watch them consistently every year get their first muscle up here or lift a weight that they can't even believe they just lifted. It's just so sweet to see. So we really love that part of our competition for sure.
So for the audience who doesn't know, the Pit Fitness Ranch is very much like the ranch in California. And what's cool is you use the elements around your facility to test the kids. Can you walk through that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. We love the parallel between us and the CrossFit Ranch in California. And it is very similar. We even have a hopper. We have what's called the copper hopper has kind of become it actually is on our shirts. Oh, yep. So I don't know if you can see it, but it is actually part of our logo, our hopper. So we have woods, water, sand, a lot of grit. It's called slag field. The kids consistently get pretty gritty out there. We're starting off with a 5K trail run tomorrow. And our 5K trail run is probably not going to be 16, 17 minutes. We're talking, it's a trail run. So we make use of those elements. We have one of our venues is called the beach, and it's down by a pond where the kids have to swim out. And then we have a Rogue rig. We're appreciative of Rogue set up down there with 10 lanes. So they come right out of the water and continue on with their movements. We were just talking about hay bales, making sure that the hay bales are the right height. So we really try to use the elements for sure. Because, we all love being in the gym, and we do finish up in the gym, with the barbells and things, because that's so much fun to watch. But it wouldn't be the pit if we didn't use the pit. So we definitely do that.
So I may have misrepresented what you are by calling it the Teen Throwdown, because you've expanded this year to include a collegiate division, which is really cool for those kids who are not able to jump right into the elite divisions, but still want to compete against people their own age. You have a collegiate division. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's another part of our competition that we love. So this kind of originated to some degree from my own experience. So my son was a CrossFit Games athlete in 2019, and he was 15 years old. And as we kind of went through the ranks in the next couple of years, it hit me that, these kids, once they age up, they're just kind of lost in the abyss as far as competitive CrossFit goes. So they age up, they turn 18, and, I don't know the exact numbers, so this is kind of like a ballpark, but, my son, for example, he went from being like third in the world, third in the United States or third in the Northeast or whatever, to being like 14,560, and that's okay, like whatever. But we found a lot of times that they're kind of lost then. They're not quite sure what to do. They love CrossFit and they know it's really good for life, but they also want to compete. And so we had an 18-19 division, and this year we opened that up a little broader to kind of get that whole collegiate athlete, 18 all the way up until 22. And that division is pretty much full. It filled up pretty quickly. And these kids they're super excited. They're so adorable. They're like, I have to get out of my class. Can you write me a letter? And then they're showing up to compete, and they are really looking forward to it.
What I think is awesome is at the same time, USA Functional Fitness is having their first college national championship, which we have on our agenda for later in this show. So the fact that these two things are happening kind of in the same breath is really awesome. And that shows there is a need for that age group, and it's a great way to grow the sport.
Yeah, I don't want to give away all my ideas, but I would really like to see a league developed, frankly, a collegiate league. I don't know what that season would look like or how that would look. I don't have all that thought through, but I would really, I think I think it's out there. I would love to see CrossFit being potentially a collegiate sport. Right now it's a club sport. And Mo from Functional Fitness will be here with us, and he helped contribute some sponsorship dollars to our event. So we've been good friends since 2019 when we first got started.
That's awesome. So tell us what you're most excited about this weekend.
I think it's really just seeing the two things. Number one is just the kids themselves. I keep in touch with them all throughout the planning process and getting to know them. And I ask them questions and I find out what they do. And then when they actually finally get here, it's so important to us to make their experience fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of those things that really organically develop. You'll see these kids out like making TikToks, or like we have a bonfire for them and they develop these friendships. I just talked with a young girl today who's camping. So we have a camping option where the athletes can actually stay together in these lakeside cottages. It's really sweet. And she's really shy and kind of nervous. And then we put them together and we say, why don't you guys get to know each other a little bit? And so when you see these things kind of develop, well, now they're meal prepping together. And, so I love that. And the second piece, and I think this could be a whole nother topic, Scott, one day, is the parents. The parents really mean a lot to us here at the Pit. So I love connecting with the parents. We have a parent dinner on Saturday night with a panel. We have an expert panel, so we can go over all the questions they have. They have so many questions, and the parents are really the decision makers. So our demographic is interesting because while the athletes, at least the underage athletes, are they're the demographic we focus on. If we looked at this from a business perspective, our parents are our customers, and the parents are the ones that make the decisions about what their children are going to do, when they're going to compete, who's going to coach them, all sorts of things. And they have a lot of questions. So I think connecting with the parents is, for me, a really fun part of the weekend.
So this may be a bigger topic, but just briefly, with all the news in the last year of people needing to take a break from CrossFit, who came out of the teen division, does that make those things that you're putting in place, like bonfires and camping together and getting the kids together to create support groups, does that make that more important? Yeah,
absolutely. From the beginning, we took we've always taken this approach that, sounds sort of cliche, but that, winning isn't everything, or just having a title or claiming a title or having X number of followers or getting big sponsors, things like that. And we know that the toll that it takes on those kids can be, pretty heinous. So right from the beginning, we want to give them competition and we want to challenge them, but challenge them appropriately. And I just told them tonight when we did our introductions, I said, really CrossFit is not the end. CrossFit is the means to the end. And what is the end? The end is creating healthy human beings that are going on to be healthy, wholesome members of our global community. So these are our leaders. These are our parents. These are our politicians. These are our affiliate owners, coaches. I just posted Caleb McClure, who was a CrossFit Games athlete. He was also a Pit athlete. He just posted, he just got his level 2 and he's coaching. Sophie Shaft is here this weekend. She was a CrossFit Games athlete who now is coaching 5 inner city Detroit kids who are all here this weekend with us as well. And so they're giving back. And that is so much more important to us to help facilitate than, winning a title for a competition. So definitely we are encouraging them to I told them they have 3 rules when they're here. Number 1 is the rule of engagement. Number 2 is the rule of respect. And I say, respect yourselves and respect each other. And they all do. They all really do. But that's about encouraging each other. And you guys know CrossFit. They're I call them competitor friends. And that's exactly what they are. When I went over their surveys before they came, I asked them what they're looking for. They talk about, they can't wait to cheer on their friends. And these are the friends that they're trying to beat also. So it's, next to them in the lane. And I just love that. So we do lots of little things, like you said, our fire, we have them camp together. We have all the parents get together and talk. We have lots of opportunities for them to connect with each other. And they will tell you that that's one of the things they love the most about being here at the pit, is that they get to see their friends. So important. That mental health angle is crucial. It's really underlying all of it.
So Ronica has jumped in ahead of my notes. Will there be any live stream over the weekend with the Throwdown?
Let me just tell you, this is so exciting. I don't know how I can get it to you, Scott, but it's Pit Media on YouTube. It's absolutely brand new. It was just so serendipitous, and this is how things have worked for us so well. So we just happen to have a father of a JV athlete who's also a member. He also lives adjacent to the pit. And we were kind of talking through, because we all know, and that's, again, a whole nother subject, that coverage is kind of tricky to come by. It can be very expensive, very just prohibitive by lots of obstacles. And he said, I do this for my church. I do this for, I do it for football games, local football games. I think I could live stream for you guys. So the answer is yes. And we cannot wait. That's the stage I'm sitting at right now. I don't know if you guys want to see it all, but I'm sitting at the stage where Joel Godette and Brian Friend will be sitting. And I'm looking at the screen that they will be looking at while they're watching the live stream, so that they can commentate. And that will be for Saturday and Sunday.
Awesome stuff. And that's on the Pit Media channel on YouTube.
On YouTube, it's called Pit Media.
Okay. Jimmy, you got any questions?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to try to drive over there and stop in.
We have an athlete staying in Grand Rapids. You're from Lansing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Lansing.
Mm-hmm.
Lansing's a little far. Yeah, we'd love to have you anytime. You're welcome.
Yeah. It's my goal next year to be up there and be at this event. Hopefully I won't have any family weddings happen on the same weekend. Well, Stephanie, it's been awesome having you on as always. I can't wait to catch up after this. Good luck this weekend and have an amazing event.
All right. Thanks, Scott, for having me. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck. Okay, Stephanie Price with the Pit Fitness Ranch Teen Throwdown. That's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So Ronica says hopefully she'll be bringing one next year to compete.
Yep.
Do you know who that is?
Probably Declan.
Gotcha. Okay, so now we're going to rewind back to this whole invite. The two major competitions of the off season, 2 of the 3 are now by invite only, at least this season. And we actually had some responses to that. One of those was Kenneth saying, so to translate that into money, how is a lesser known athlete able to fund his game season if they don't get to make the off season comps? Bingo, bingo, bingo.
Yep.
How does the sport grow if you only know this chunk of people, and when new people show up, nobody knows who they are because they've had no opportunity to show what they have? Andrew Sten says, hopefully that is what Wadapalooza is trying to alleviate with the West Coast event next year. With it so close to the games, there will be better opportunities for lesser known athletes to compete. Here's where it gets dicey for me. And I hate using the term lesser known athlete, because the only reason people don't know who they are is they're not being given the opportunities to show what they can do. But we're not even talking people who didn't make the games. We're talking 20 through 40. Like Rogue's only doing top 15 and a select few others. And this year they didn't even go to 15 if all the accounts are correct, which I'm sure they are. Dubai, I think 6 women from the United States got invited, a handful of men, and the rest are the same European athletes you see at all the competitions, the French throwdown, the German throwdown, all of, what is strength and depth, the filthy 150, is that it?
Yep. That's right.
So all those events, you're seeing the Jukic brothers and Christoph Horvath and Moritz Fiebig and Alek Katulis, and it's all the same names every freaking competition. And and I get it. Like, as an organizer, you want to have the best names to draw people to your event, but you're never going to get new, good, big names without giving these people an opportunity. I think that was it about that.
Yeah. Jay Birch, did they love it? His in-laws just went to Mackinac.
I've heard it's amazing, but it's way up there, right?
Yes, way up there.
Like UPI or UP?
UP.
The UP.
The Upers.
Gotcha. So yeah, he says, yeah, they did. I like that hat, man. In the profile pic. Veronica's making fun of me. Thought we were friends, Veronica. Thought we were friends. I got it mixed with PEI. It's the UP and PEI. Two different islands. Yes. Two different areas of the world. And I mixed them together. Yeah. So yeah, that was the main thing that I wanted to talk about. I know, and this is something I want to dive into. I'm not sure it's going to be a riff or if we're going to be talking about it here or what, but last night on Spin, there was a lot of grief given to Rogue because the rules for the online competition were pages long.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they made one mistake with a tape line. Okay. But that is where I think the pendulum needs to swing for now, because everybody is trying to skirt the line to take advantage of every opportunity possible.
Yep.
And what's happening is we're not getting the best of the best at these events through qualifiers. Yep. And I'll use you as an example. Through online competitions, you're a 10 to 20 athlete. But every time you show up in person, you're on the podium. That should not be happening. And I'm to the point where I think that these people who are skirting the line over and over and over again and get busted over and over again should be suspended, just like a drug charge.
I totally agree.
If you pop for steroids, you're out for 4 years. Mm-hmm. If you keep cheating the online versions of the competition, you should be suspended maybe 4 years. I don't know. I haven't thought that part through, but it is having just as much of an adverse effect on what the sport is becoming as the drug use.
Yeah. I mean, and Hiller's touched on it so many times, but like, that's where, when it's pretty egregious, it needs to be an invalid video. They need a 0 and they need to not be able to move on from that stage. Period. Like,
if it happens 2 or 3 times, then you're out for a year.
Yeah.
And you can't compete for 1 full year or 2 years or whatever. Like, we've got to put a stop to this. It's becoming so egregious. And I don't think the solution is like Rogue having to write 50 pages of instructions for their online qualifier. my belief is the solution is something that Brent Fikowski has talked to us about on the show, and that is there needs to be a movement standard book where a burpee is a burpee is a burpee until a rules committee decides that it's different now.
Yeah.
And that's the book that if you're a licensed CrossFit event, you should have to adhere to in your qualifiers, right? And then you don't have to write out 50 pages of instructions because there's already a rule book that has all that in it that is the standard. And that happens in the NFL where there's a rules committee where every year they go, ooh, is there something that we need to fix in these rules? And they come up with nominating rule changes, and then it goes to the ownership group who then vote in whether that should be changed or not. And I think a similar process would work in CrossFit.
Yeah. I mean, I like a standard movement rule book. I personally think the solution or part of the solution would be like live. It doesn't need to be a live leaderboard, but the leaderboards need to come with videos, period. Everybody needs to see everybody's video, and like it just gets crowdsourced. Your peers are going to look at your movement and call you out.
Lex says, do you think there will be rogue invalidations on the leaderboard? I think in the past, rogue has proven to be the swiftest and most, I don't know. I don't want to say judicious. Is that what I want? They make the judgment and it is done. Travis Mayer, you didn't weigh your weight. You're done. Colton Mertens, you didn't do this right. You're done. They've shown over time that they are willing to say, ooh, they didn't do it here in this part of the video. It's done. We don't even go further.
Yeah.
I don't think every other competition is doing that, but I think Rogue will. And they can do that because they're only qualifying 5 spots.
Exactly. And I think there's only like, how many people did the qualifier?
80?
It's not hundreds.
No.
Like, which till Lex said that you can see everyone's video on Rogue. Yeah, there's 40, 50 videos to look at. That's not that much, but how like semifinals for us masters don't have videos attached to all those people making it is beyond me. When you get to go in live to do semifinals and see people and we don't get to see each other is crazy to me.
Andrew says videos need to be invalidated so much. No more letting things slide by. Absolutely.
I mean, it's the thing. They're going to keep doing it. And they're going to keep pushing the line more and more because they get a slap on the wrist. If that. It makes sense to dang near do half the workout and take a 15% penalty and still get a better score than 90% of people.
Their strategy.
Yeah.
Jay Birch says, hell, we do that in high school sports in Texas. University Interscholastic League writes the book. Yeah, I agree. It's the way it needs to move for this to move forward. There was something else that I wanted to say. Yeah, the Masters, you don't have any opportunity to compete live until the games. You've got people on that games floor who I question whether they ever had a video reviewed.
Agreed.
Ever.
Yeah.
Jody says mini duo riff. There we go. Carolyn Prevost, always love to hear from Carolyn. There's too much on the line for athletes now, money-wise, sponsorship opportunities. We need fair comps and strict standards.
Mm-hmm.
And suspensions. I think she meant to add on to the end of that. No, I'm just kidding. I would never speak for Carolyn. But and this is like when I was embedded with you for quarterfinals, and the amount of work that goes into setting up a workout and making sure that you are doing it by the book is 20, 30 minutes. Like, you just getting to like warm up and do the workout is nearly an impossibility for someone who's doing it by the book.
Yeah.
All right. Mini duo riff over. But yeah. And I don't even know where we started with this. See,
I don't know. Still, I think we're on the invite. Getting new athletes. It's hard to get new athletes in.
Yeah, we veered off somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Honestly, yes, suspension should take place for deliberately cheating. Get those people out.
Yeah.
Holly says, I really just want to rebuild the judges course or design a different one. How about this? If we weed out those people who skirt the line and you get good movers to the games, judging becomes 80% easier because you have better movers at the Super Bowl of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Correct.
That will help judging, because there are a lot of great judges out there that volunteer their time. But when you let some of the people through that they let through that are trying to skirt the line, that makes their job unreasonably harder.
Mm-hmm.
Get good movers in there where the person's not trying to skirt the line. And all of a sudden the judges become way better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kenneth is just
sweet.
being sweet now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a riff and he comes in with this stuff. Scott Jamie, just wanted to take a sec to say, I love these weekly shows. Keep them coming and we will keep watching them. Clydesdale is my go-to for CrossFit news and riffs. Andrew said there will always be people trying to skirt the line, even the top athletes. Here's what I would say to that, Andrew. I think that if you're doing a thruster, you are probably trying to get depth and no more than depth. So you're playing with that line, but you're not a bad mover who has cheated in the online with camera angles and distance and hoping that nobody watches your video. Those are the people we need to get out. You know depth, right? You, Andrew Sten, know how to call that a no rep. It's okay. And that's what your job is. Your job is to keep them at the standard. Yes, they're probably trying to ride right on that line so their movement is faster. And that's okay. They're not trying to cheat it. They just want to know what they can get away with. And you will not let them get away with that because you're an awesome judge. And our librarian says, but a course could be useful for everyone to take away. That's not a giant rule book. Yeah, I'm okay with redoing the judges course. But I will tell you, after being a part of that group, there are seasoned judges who really don't need to take that course every year. Like they're working 6, 7, 8 events a year. Maybe more. Like they take all their vacations to do that. All right. I got Carolyn fired up. But distance of camera for certain movements is on the programming. Wire handstand push-ups for instance always programmed with a 25-foot section movement because it's easier to pass the video.
It's true.
And Andrew, this is exactly what I was saying. Yeah, once you call the first no rep, they hit the standard perfectly without argument. The top athletes do that.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have people that you don't think do, but okay.
Correct.
And Holly says, no, I'm thinking more like the general, not the good judges. Okay. Then we're good. Okay. So, and the top athletes call it feeling out the judge, apparently. So we have Dubai, we have Rogue in Dubai. We have the rules. I think we've touched everything there that we need to touch this week. We talked about this briefly with Stephanie. USA Functional Fitness is proud to announce that it will be hosting its first ever collegiate national championship of functional fitness, February 3rd and 4th in Reston, Virginia. The competition will feature both pairs and individual competition in both RX and pairs divisions. And these are some of the universities involved already. Penn State University. We are. University of Pittsburgh, Naval Academy, West Point, University of Cincinnati, and the University of Miami in Ohio. And I think Ohio University was listed too. It's not on my notes, but I think I just forgot that on the cut and paste. I think that's really cool. I think this is a way to grow the sport. If it becomes more than a club sport, and heck, even if it just becomes a really cool club sport, like rugby or some of those sports that have moved up in status throughout collegiate athletics, I think this is a great way to get CrossFit moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, and then the interesting thing about USA Functional Fitness is, kind of the format of their, if you ever follow any of the functional fitness stuff, that it has like one Metcon, one lift, like it's all spelled out, whatever that match is going to be. It has X number of elements and what those elements are. Now, what it can change within that element for every competition, but that they all have those aspects in them. So it's a little bit different than like straight up CrossFit, but it is moving in a good direction, I think. Kenneth says that lots of high schools have CrossFit clubs now. And that's really cool. And some have straight up CrossFit class instead of gym.
I think that's great.
And Daniel Arnson says, say it with me, Scott, go blue. And I believe that is a Michigan cheer, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We will not be saying that, Daniel.
Yeah. I don't have the hatred for Michigan like people I live around in this town of Columbus, Ohio. I actually am a huge, huge Jim Harbaugh fan because he was drafted by my beloved Chicago Bears.
Oh, my Lord.
And was an amazing quarterback because we haven't not had any amazing quarterbacks with the Chicago Bears in like 100 years. And at least he was fun to watch. So the last thing I have on our agenda, I'm not sure we want to get into in the last 10 minutes of this show.
Yeah. Bruce made it.
Now this is what I'll say to you all, the audience. So what transpired today with Be Friendly Fitness was that Brian Friend put out his list of the 40 greatest male and female CrossFitters of all time. I read through the list quickly. I did not give it a deep dive look, but I can tell you I almost immediately disagreed with the women in the top 5. I'd have to take a look at the men a little more closely again. So do we want to look at it?
Sure.
Okay, let me pull it up. The women is just ridiculous.
Can't wait to see it.
I've argued with Brian in person, so this is nothing that he probably doesn't already know that I'm thinking. So here we go. Be friendly fitness. Do we start men or women?
Let's see the women.
Women are the most ridiculous. Okay.
Okay.
So the way it works is the first 5 have their own slide, and then he does like, I think 5 or 10 at a time, maybe. So number 1, I mean, really, this is where we agree.
Okay.
I think even number 2, we agree. So number 1 is Tia Claire Toomey. Number 2 is Annie Thorstadter. Her longevity in this sport, along with 2-time champion, multiple-time podium winner, I'm good there. Here's where we go astray. Now, you know that I have been a huge Laura Horvath supporter this entire season, right? I think she is amazing.
Way more than me. Mm-hmm.
Right. Way more than you. There's no way on God's earth she is the 3rd greatest CrossFitter of all time.
I agree.
1 championship, 3 podiums, and 1 major hole.
Yes.
Number 4 is Katrin.
Okay.
You know, I am not the biggest Katrin fan in the world. She's growing on me this season for some reason. I don't know why, but 2-time champion, multiple-time podium winner. She should be ahead of Laura.
I can get behind that argument.
Yeah. Veronica, I know. We're not even there yet. Sam Briggs, haven't even seen her flash across the screen. Cara Saunders, number 5.
Okay.
1 podium finish. And this is all based on only games performance. This does not factor in any off-season competitions, anything else. This is, according to Brian in his write-up, it is only about your CrossFit Games performance.
Okay.
Then we go to the next 5, which is Sam Briggs at 6, Kristen Holta at 7, Sarah Sigmundsdottir at 8, Kristen Clever at 9, Carrie Pierce at 10. Thoughts? Sarah Sigmundsdottir is better than Kristen Holta. Sam Briggs is better than Cara Saunders.
Yes, I agree. Sam needs to be higher on the list.
Say what you will about Sarah Sigmundsdottir. She is a 2-time podium winner. In 2 years where it was Katrin, Tia, and her.
Yeah.
Stacked field, and she competed. Carolyn, I'm not taking anything away from Holta. I love Kristen. I think she's amazing, but 1 podium finish. And then it was some top 10s, and she's amazing. For a smaller athlete, she has done so much with what she has. But Sarah was really doggone good for those 2 years. She's still like a significant needle mover. And Kristen Clever, like, it's really hard. And this is probably where our biggest differences come in. And that is that I can't add weight to those first few years of the CrossFit Games.
I wholeheartedly agree.
When Clever won, it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And I would say the same for Graham, who won in the same year. Like, those don't hold water for me like some of the later championships. And I think even Clever would tell you that she shouldn't be in the same mix with these people. Right? She's one of the most humble people you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the top 10. Let's just stop there and we'll come back. I don't think it's recency bias, Andrew. I think it is because Sarah really hasn't done anything in the last few years. But man, when she was good, she was really freaking good. Like, if you remember 2016, she almost won the games. It came down to that last event, and only because Katrin out-strategized her and Tia by not doing the pegboards and the other two trying, she wins the games. So we'll stop at the 10. We'll revisit this next week.
Okay.
Because it'll give me time to like make my own list.
So I mean, I remember him going through this last year and talking about where people were and what it would take, like who it needs to keep placing to move higher up this list. And I don't know.
Laura, third,
it is what it is.
Third. All right, let's talk men. I disagree here, but I'm okay with it. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
That's who I'd have won. So Matt won. For audio listeners, I keep forgetting. Matt won. Rich 2. I'd flip-flop the 2, but I get it. 3, Pat Vellner.
Ooh, I like it.
Why do you like it?
Because he's so consistent too. And for me, like Pat, for me, is such a good mover that I never have to question anything. So I guess for me, I like already put him above other people just because of like his movement, his character, his like, and he still manages to outperform people who shorten reps. He's always up there.
Okay.
And he's been there what, 8-9 years now?
Okay. What about Ben Smith, who's won a championship over Matt Fraser and has been there from 2009 to 2018?
I still like Pat over Ben.
Multiple
podium But
winner.
I can see the argument.
Ben Smith beat Matt Fraser. Ben Smith is the last person to beat Matt Fraser.
Yeah.
That's your argument is yeah.
Yeah. It's just that was a weird year. I feel like that was the transition year of like new generation of athletes coming in and getting better. And he just was still the consistent one there. And Matt just hadn't had time to like, I mean, we know what happened after that. Matt just wasn't there yet.
Matt took second. It's not like he was like some chump. Matt took.
He would probably tell you he was a chump that year.
He would, but that's his new standard.
He went in just trying to just go in and see what he could do without really putting in the time and effort, and then changed that real quick and was unstoppable.
Okay. So let's remember, though, that Ben won and beat Matt, and the next year finished second to Matt in this whole transition period where he'd been around for 6-7 years at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the argument that Ben should be third.
Okay. Well, he's finally there fourth.
So they flip-flopped.
And what's interesting is last year, Brian had Ben third and Pat fourth.
So because
And
Pat had another games and podium. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but if Roman would have finished the weekend healthy, Pat wouldn't have finished second.
He still would have had a podium. He probably still would have moved up.
I'm just doing that because that annoyed me with Jeff.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
So we have Ben Smith in fourth. We have Jason Kalipa in fifth. I think that's a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Jason had one great year where he podiumed behind Rich and Matt. I think 2008 was just a weird, while he had one great workout that moved him so far up the leaderboard that he won. And
he was just way stronger.
Now, love Jason as an analyst and a personality. But yeah, I think he's a little bit overrated here. Because I'd put Scott Panchek ahead of him. I'd put Justin Medeiros ahead of him. And you know how hard that is for me.
Yeah.
And then he has BKG into Brent Fikowski into Noah Olson.
Yeah. I would like to see some of those names ahead of Jason for sure.
I think you could. I think Kalipa at 9th. Everybody else moves up one. I don't think Brent gets the love he deserves.
Yeah. He's overshadowed by those other Canadians.
And I think Justin should be ahead of Scott Panchek.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 2 podiums or 2 firsts. It's gotta have some credit there.
Yeah, and Panchek never podiumed.
Right.
Consistent forever.
Mr. Consistent for sure. Yeah.
But I'm a huge Panchek lover. Justin should be in 5th, in my opinion. I'd even put Brent over Scott.
Yeah, I could see that. More podiums.
Has BKG ever podiumed?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'd probably put Brent ahead of him.
I guess it's possible he has a third, but I don't think he has.
So that's the top 10 on the men. We'll take a week to kind of let this, as I think Jay Birch put, we'll let it ferment for about a week.
Sounds good.
And then we'll come back with our own lists and just see how we compare and contrast. But I love that Brian put this out. It gives us something to talk about and something to debate.
Mm-hmm.
And Carolyn comes back with more podiums and more event wins also for Brent over Scott. Totally agree.
Yeah.
And I love Scott Panchek. Like, love that dude. Wanted him to podium so bad in Masters this year, but it was not meant to be. And Andrew Sten says, Scott probably would have gotten a win in 2020 with the Mayhem team. Yeah, that would not factor in to my ranking. And again, this is just at the games, not other competitions. And that's where I think
Rich's firsts and team have to mean something to you if you want him ahead of Matt.
It is more about, in my opinion, what Rich did for the sport was bigger than what Matt did for the sport.
But
for the time
we're talking
that they
about
were champions.
performance at the games, correct?
What he did at the games elevated the sport.
Because he
What
stuck
Rich
around and did teams.
continues to do at the games elevates the sport.
I agree.
Like he is taking pictures, shaking hands, kissing babies, signing autographs nonstop, and he's a 4-time champion. That's why he's number one in my book and will always be number one. But I totally get why someone puts Matt one. I mean,
Right.
Matt dominated for 5 years. I totally get that. I would not make this like a huge argument over someone putting Matt number one.
Right.
I get it. I totally get it. Just in my book, Rich is number one in my book and will always be.
Yeah, I would give some props to Rich too, just the longevity. And I understand he moved over teams and people poo-poo on that, but he stayed in the sport. He kept competing and was able to string some more firsts. And heck, he even showed some love to Masters and went all the way through semifinals this year. I mean, it's just like things like that. Like Matt just did his thing and stepped out and that's it. And he doesn't care to do, like, I'm sure we won't see him at Rogue in the Legends. I don't know if he'll ever participate in that, any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I said poo-poo.
Yeah, poo-poo. Veronica agrees with me because we're friends again. I love Rich, great guy, as the people's champ.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Sten says, Rich is the GOAT, zero argument. Well, apparently there is an argument.
Not in our world.
But that's okay. At least it's not a Ben Smith, Pat Vellner argument. Where I just get, well, meh.
I just like him.
You just like him because you ran him down on a street in Pasadena and he answered some questions.
I've liked him way, way before that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good for tonight. I've got to like cook food and a bunch of stuff for this wedding.
Oh my God.
So it's going to be a fun weekend. But with that, so the show's probably going to be off. And people asked if they missed the weight loss show. Weight loss show got canceled today due to scheduling conflicts with my nutrition coach and myself. But all that's good. And it'll be back next week for sure. And we will be back next week. And I think we're going to be back same time.
We're going to try our darndest.
It may be just a little bit later than normal in the coming weeks because your son is going all John McEnroe on us.
Yeah.
And he's going to kick some butt and win some tennis matches.
We'll see about that. He's got some work to do, but it's fun to watch him.
Mom.
So yeah,
Be supportive.
I try. I'm so competitive out there. It's not a good sport for me. I can't keep quiet. I can't.
So I'm going to leave you with this last thing. My daughter started soccer when she was really young, and we went to watch her. And I know nothing about soccer, right? So we're going to the thing, and my wife says, listen, you are not going to embarrass me out there. Like, do not yell at your kid or any of that stuff. Like, just sit quietly and do your thing. And my daughter gets in as goalie, and the ball's on the ground. She covers it like she's supposed to, and another girl kicks her. My wife is running on the field saying, don't kick my baby. Don't kick my baby. And I'm like, I'm the one that's supposed to not embarrass anybody. I'm the one that's supposed to stay cool. Yeah. Yeah. We learned.
Did Julie get a red card for that?
I think she was asked to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, hope you all enjoyed that final story, and we will see everybody next time on Thursday night CrossFit Talk. Bye, guys.